Hello everyone, welcome back. Moving on towards the next and the last fracture of your mid-face fracture, that is the Lefort 3 fracture. I've already covered about Lefort 1 and 2 in my earlier videos. So what are the synonyms for Lefort 3? So it is known as suprazygomatic, transverse, high-level fracture or craniofacial disjunction. Now it is known as suprazygomatic just because this fracture, it occurs above the zygomatic bone and hence it is suprazygomatic. Now why it is known as transverse I'm going to explain in this video, and why it is known as craniofacial, even about that I'm going to explain. And it is known as high facial fracture because now it is present at the high level of your midface, and because of that it is known as high level. Now what is the etiology of it? So it results due to the high velocity force, and the force it is applied at the level of the orbit. So now you have seen in Lefort 1 it was about the apices of the teeth, in Lefort 2 it was at the nasal bone, and in Lefort 3 it is at the level of your orbit, and it is mainly through the lateral orbit. So starting off with the fracture line, now your fracture line you have to write it in three aspects, that is the anteriorly, posterior medially and posterior laterally. So starting off with the anterior line, so this anteriorly the fracture line it starts from the frontonasal suture. So this is your frontonasal suture. This is your frontonasal suture. So this fracture line starts from the frontonasal suture transversely and backwardly, and it is parallel with the base of the skull. So it is parallel to the base of the skull, and hence it is known as a transverse fracture because the direction of it, so the way it follows is a transversely backward, and it is parallel to the base of the skull. Then it crosses the nasal bone and the frontal process of maxilla. So this is the frontal process of maxilla. This is the nasal bone. So it crosses this. So now the first line is, it is starting from the frontal nasal suture. It crosses this nasal bone and the frontal process of maxilla. Now about this anatomy of orbit, I have already explained in the Lefort 2, but still I'll give you a review or like a brief about it. So this one is the lacrimal bone. This is a lacrimal sac, the inner part. So the smaller part is the lacrimal sac. This one is the ethmoidal bone. Over here, this black dot which is present is the optic canal or optic foramen. These two, they are the lesser and the greater wing of sphenoid. That is your sphenoid bone. So this one is your inferior orbital fissure. So this one is your inferior orbital fissure, and this upper one is the superior orbital fissure. This is the orbital plate of the frontal bone. Over here, this is the orbital plate of the zygomatic bone, and this part is the orbital plate of the maxillary bone. As it is close to the maxilla, over here this is close to the frontal bone, and this is close to the zygomatic bone. And this is all about the applied anatomy of your orbit, and this was the first part of your fracture line, that is, it is starting from the frontonasal suture, and it then passes or it crosses the nasal bone and the frontal process of maxilla. Now next is, it crosses along the upper limit of the lacrimal bone. So as I have said, this is the lacrimal bone. So your fracture, it is starting from the frontonasal process, then it crosses along the upper part of the lacrimal bone. So now your fracture line is crossing the upper part of the lacrimal bone. So now over here, it has entered the lacrimal bone. Third is, it crosses or it fractures the full depth of the ethmoidal bone, including the cribriform plate. So over here, so the fracture line was starting from here, it has entered the orbital, it has entered the orbit through this medial wall in this lacrimal bone. After that, it fractures this ethmoidal bone over here. So it fractures this ethmoidal bone, including the cribriform plate. So it is fracturing full depth of this ethmoidal bone, including the cribriform plate. So this is the third point of the fracture line. Next is, it posterior-medially. So starting off with the next aspect of the fracture line, that is the posterior-medially. So this posterior-medially, the fracture line, it runs within the orbit. So now over here, as you have seen, it has came till the ethmoidal bone. So over here, it is running along the orbit, and this fracture line, it passes below the optic foramen into the posterior limit of inferior orbital fissure. So this is your inferior orbital fissure. Then over here, this fourth point is, this fracture line, it passes through this inferior orbital fissure, the posterior limit of your inferior orbital fissure, and this fracture line is usually below this optic foramen, and it usually does not involve this optic foramen because your optic foramen, it is surrounded by the dense bone all over, and it becomes very difficult to fracture this. So to fracture this area and include this optic foramen, and because of that it is passing or it is running below the optic foramen, and then it is to the inferior orbital fissure. So over here, so it has entered this inferior orbital fissure. So till now this is the fracture line. So it has entered the posterior limit of the inferior orbital fissure. Next is, now from the base of this, so over here this was your fracture line till now. So like this, it was a fracture line. So from this base of this inferior orbital fissure, now this fracture line, it extends in two directions. So there can be two scenarios. Now from this base of your inferior orbital fissure, there can be two scenarios for your fracture line. So it runs backward and downwards across the pterygomaxillary fissure, and it fractures the pterygoid plate or the lamina at its root, that is its origin. So now you have seen this was your fracture line. So now the first scenario is, what it does is it moves or it runs backward and downwards. So over here, now over here, so over here you have seen, so it has like crossed this. So it has crossed now the inferior orbital fissure. So after that, what it does is it turns or it runs backward. So now it is running over here. So now in this picture you can see it is running backward and downwards across this pterygomaxillary fissure. So this is your pterygomaxillary fissure. So it is running across its pterygomaxillary fissure, and then it fractures the pterygoid plate at its root. So this is your lateral pterygoid plate. So it is fracturing this pterygoid plate at its root, that is its origin. Now this is a differentiating point between Lefort 1, 2 and 3. So you have seen in Lefort 1 it is fracturing at the lower one third. In Lefort 2 you have seen it is fracturing the middle third of the pterygoid plate, but now in Lefort 3, now you can see it is fracturing the root. So it is fracturing the pterygoid plate at its root, that is its origin. So this is how it occurs. So this is the first scenario. Scenario can be, so over here this was your fracture line. The next scenario can be laterally, so across the lateral wall of the orbit through the spinozygomatic suture. So this is your spinozygomatic suture. So what it does is, next scenario can be this fracture line, it runs laterally across this spinozygomatic suture. So now it is running laterally across this spino. So now it has crossed this spinozygomatic suture, and then it runs along the frontozygomatic suture. So now it is running through the frontozygomatic suture. So this is your frontozygomatic suture over here. So this fracture line, now you can see after this it is running through the spinozygomatic suture. This is your spinozygomatic, and then it runs along the frontozygomatic suture, and usually it also involves the zygomatico-temporal suture. Then so this is the second scenario which you'll see, and the fracture of the zygomatic arch, it is an integral part of the Lefort 3. So this is the, now over here this is your, so this is your zygomatic arch. So this is your zygomatic arch. So in this you'll see in Lefort 3, this fracture line, it also fractures the zygomatic arch, and this is the integral part of the Lefort 3, and it completes the separation of the facial bone from the cranium. Now over here you can see this. So it is separating the facial bone from the cranium. In this way, the entire middle third of the facial skeleton, it becomes detached from the cranial base. So it also fractures this zygomatic arch, and by this it is completely detaching itself from the cranial base, and hence it is known as craniofacial disjunction, because in this your cranial base, it is completely separated from the facial structure, that is your facial skeleton, and this is the fracture line of your Lefort 3. Now moving on towards the clinical features. So all of the clinical features that we are seeing in Lefort 2, it will be present in Lefort 3 too. But now all these are the extra things that you will see. So first is there will be tenderness and separation of frontozygomatic suture. Now we have seen the fracture line, it is crossing the frontozygomatic suture. So there will be tenderness and separation of that suture. Then there is lengthening of the face. Now as you have seen, it is separating. So your face, so your facial skeleton is getting separated from the cranium base. Because of that, there is lengthening of the face. Then one or the other zygomatic complex fracture with displacement. Now in this you will see complex fracture, that is with Lefort you will see other zygomatic fractures also. This can be the clinical feature for your Lefort 3. Then there is flattening and a step deformity at the infraorbital margin. So you'll see mobility at the infraorbital margin. Then there is movement of the entire facial skeleton as a single block. Now, as your facial skeleton is completely separated, and because of that, there is movement of this entire facial skeleton as a single block. Then there is enophthalmos. Enophthalmos is nothing but it is the posterior displacement of the eye. So in that, now you know what is exophthalmos. Exophthalmos is nothing but the protrusion of the eye. So it is getting protruded. In this, the eye, it is getting sunken. Then there is hooding of the eye. So over here, this is the hooding of the eye. Then there is profuse CSF rhinorrhea. CSF rhinorrhea is nothing but your CSF fluid. So there is leakage of the CSF fluid from the nose. So this is nothing but CSF rhinorrhea. So in Lefort 3, you'll see profuse CSF rhinorrhea. Then there is this panda faces. So this is how the panda faces looks like. Then there is dish face deformity. This is the dish face deformity in which the facial prominence is lost. Then in Lefort 3, you'll see this battle sign. Now, what is this battle sign? Battle sign is nothing but there is mastoid ecchymosis, and this mastoid ecchymosis is nothing but the indication of the fracture of the posterior cranial fossa. So this is the ecchymosis of the mastoid process, and this is known as battle sign, which you'll see in Lefort 3. Then there is hemotympanum, that is nothing but the presence of blood in the tympanic cavity of the middle ear. So there is the blood which is present in the tympanic cavity of the middle ear. Then the next clinical feature is there is orbital dystrophy with associated anti-monoglottal slant. So now in this picture, now you can see this is the normal monogloid slant. But now because of this Lefort 3, you will see this slant, it is getting, so this position, so this slant, it is getting downward. So this is known as anti-mongoloid slant. The next one is there is flattening, widening and deviation of the nasal bridge. So your nasal bridge, it will get widened, flattened and deviated. Then there is periorbital edema and ecchymosis. This is periorbital edema and ecchymosis. Ecchymosis is nothing but this bluish black area which you will see. Then subconjunctival hemorrhage, which involves the entire eye with no posterior limit which is seen. So this is the differentiating feature from Lefort 2. In Lefort 2, you will see there is this posterior limit which is present, but in this Lefort 3, there is no posterior limit which is present. So this is nothing but the hemorrhage, subconjunctival hemorrhage. Next is the saddle nose deformity, which is commonly associated with nasoorbital ethmoidal fracture. Then there is decreased mouth opening because the zygoma is impinging the coronoid process, and because of that there is decreased mouth opening and there is severe posterior gagging of the teeth. There is nothing but like early occlusion, so there is early touching of the molars. Next, occlusion is there is deranged, so the occlusion is deranged and there is severe anterior open bite, you will see, and there can be class 3. So now this is nothing but the how you're going to diagnose. So diagnosing, it remains the same. Clinical features, radiographic and CT scan. So over here now you can see how your fracture line it is. So as we have seen, it is starting from the frontonasal process, then it is entering the orbit, and then it is running through the frontozygomatic suture. So over here now you can see this is the CT scan of the Lefort 3 fracture, and it is also fracturing this zygomatic arch. Now you can see this red line over here, this red line. So this is nothing but it is also fracturing the zygomatic arch, and this is all about the Lefort 3 fracture. And this was the Lefort 3 fracture. Thank you so much. And yes, I have also started this page or channel on Telegram. Now this is the picture, like I have attached it over here so that you can have an idea of it, like what exactly it looks like. So on that Telegram channel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post all the notes in the form of PDF. So over here, as you can see, I have posted already the surveying PDF. So the notes for the surveying in the form of PDF. So you can save it, and if you want, you can like refer from there directly. And even over there, what I'm going to do is daily I'm going to post like around 10 to 20 MCQs. And this MCQs, why I am doing that? Because now MCQs, they are very important, and because of that you will have greater exposure towards the MCQ, and this will be helpful for those who are going to appear for your university exam, and even it is going to help those who are going to like appear for their MDS need, because now really this MCQs, they can really help you to score good marks, and they are like completely in your hands. If you answer right MCU, so if you answer it right, then you're surely getting that marks, unlike your SAQs or LAQs. So this is what I'm doing on that Telegram page, and the link for this page or channel, so the link for this channel I am like linking it in the description. So do like subscribe to that Telegram channel too, and you'll have greater exposure towards MCQs, and even you can have more like can have discussion over there on Telegram about your doubts or everything. So do like subscribe to my channel on Telegram and even on YouTube too. And thank you so much.